This is our online video weather blog from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, keeping you updated as to what is going on with the weather in the Tennessee River Valley. If you've got questions about the weather, go ahead and ask them. We'll do our best to answer, even though we may not be able to answer for you directly immediately. We'll do what we can to give you an idea as to what is going on into a particular area. We'd love to answer any questions, and again, if you like what you see, please tweet it out, Twitch, post it at some point in time. Let us know what you're thinking, and if there's something on here that you would like to see where it comes to weather, let us know. We would love to be able to have you come back for more information, and again, keeping you updated as to what is going on with weather in and around the area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This is, again, Tuesday night, the 22nd of October. Where has the time gone? Beware of Tuesdays and Octobers because they usually just fly right on by, and that is definitely the case as it feels like it was October 1st about 5 minutes ago. So for right now, it's coming toward the end of the month, and that is going to be coming up here very, very soon. So if you have any questions about the forecast here, stick around. We'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit. Speaking of, the forecast is not going to be changing anytime soon. We've got very dry, warm, mild conditions all the way through the weekend, it looks like. Our next potential best chance of anything involving rainfall, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be somewhere around Halloween. Hopefully that changes. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started. I think everybody's online with Twitch and YouTube and keeping you updated as to what's going on here. So for right now, keeping an eye on the almanac page for the day. We did have, again, some very mild conditions here today, but we did not have anything in the way of record-breaking temperatures. We came within 8 degrees of a record high temperature, again 86. The last time that was set was 1963. 24, the record low back in 1952. So we did manage to get some very chilly conditions on that day. More importantly, taking a look at these numbers here, goose eggs for rainfall yet again. And for the month to date, we only have managed to pick up 0.04 of an inch, and that is one of the driest Octobers on record. And as an added bonus, October is usually the driest month for the year in and around the Chattanooga area, so we could use some more rainfall, and we are 2.5+ inches behind for the month and well about 9.2 behind for the year. So unless we pick up a decent amount of rain in about the next, say, 9 weeks, we could wind up with another very dry year coming up here. Last year, we finished up with a last-minute slew of rainfall, which kept the numbers from going too far under for deficits. This time around, if we don't make up some of that rain in November and December, it's going to be very much on the dry side around here. So we'll see how well that manages to get around the area when it comes to rainfall, and stay tuned for more on that. Thanks a lot to Sandy LaRue from Dalton for a beautiful view of the early morning shot of a mum field at Pike Nursery and Farm in Ringgold, Georgia. That's our Langley Roofing weather window. Very colorful, very floral view of the day. Thank you very much for that. If you've got a picture for the Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day, please send them in to us at pictures@wdef.com. You can drop into our social media channels. You can also go to our main website, wdef.com/photos, to drop yours off and see what everybody else have been submitting for the picture of the day. Outdoor activities tomorrow, not a problem. UV index will be middle territory in there, not too much in the way of major UV problems, but that extra sunblock would be a very good idea, especially if you're going to be out and about. Temperatures will be very close to about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. We're in that time frame where the normals start to fall off, and we should be at about 72. We're going to be about 82 plus into the next several days. So anything involving outdoor activities, and that includes, again, heading out for a round of golf, you are going to have to take along some extra ice water just to be on the safe side. And then also that sunblock would not be a bad idea, taking a look at some of the golfing conditions out there for now. Quiet across the area, 24/75 traffic on the Tomahawk crane and rigging camera on the EPB fiber optics WeatherCam network. Everything is moving along quite nicely at this time. It's been a very quiet evening, little if anything changing. We are going to have a major pattern shift to get anything in the way of rainfall in around here, and that's not happening anytime soon. Lower 60s as we look around the area from the airport just over the horizon on this picture. And again, the 24/75 interstate interchange here. Traffic lights are turned off because of the construction just down the road, and as of right now, no major backups taking place here, so some good news on that if you are traveling. Into the course of the next couple of days, we're probably going to be expecting, again, just about the same thing where it comes to temperatures. Not seeing a lot of major change out there for now, and as of right now, again, decently mild for the 10 o'clock hour, or at least coming up on that. So for the time being, again, it's a beautiful evening, very dry in the News 12 viewing area. Again, we cover southeast Tennessee, western North Carolina, north central, northwest Georgia, and northeastern Alabama. That's the News 12 viewing area. Some temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Monteagle, Tennessee, you managed to make the lower 80s today, but most everybody else stayed well on south of that number. So it was warm, but it wasn't quite as warm as it possibly could be out there. Take a look at the big picture. And we have high pressure dominating much of the area for right now, so we really doubt to see anything changing anytime soon. We do not have any good news in the way of rainfall, so if you have a garden, plants outside, you're going to have to bring in the watering can and the hose to help out, because we have nothing in the way of change coming up. High pressure from the East Coast through the Rockies to the West Coast, and nothing much changing. We do have this cold front in the northern plain states, and yes, there is some rain right around the Great Lakes, even some snow showers taking place, some colder air up here. But this cold front and this weak disturbance, what's left of a front, will be passing through the area into the course of the next couple of days. The next front will be arriving as we go into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Not showing anything with this. It's moisture starved with high pressure on both sides, so that moves through and basically falls apart as it goes south of us on Thursday, and then the next system sets up from north of us. That one moves through sometime by about Friday evening. So with the passage of that front, we may see some clouds stirred up in the front portion of that, and then also in the lee of that front as we go into Saturday morning. Maybe some clouds with the passage of that system, but it looks to be a very warm weekend with temperatures on Saturday afternoon in the high 70s to the lower 80s. So several fronts, several of them weak, all of them dry. No chance of anything involving rain. Yes, there are some pockets of rain here, but that is really not helping anything at this time, excuse me, because the fronts are just starved for moisture on either side of this front, so little of anything taking place in the way of change anytime soon. How about from the tropics? What's going on there? Well, Oscar is a shell of its former self. Matter of fact, it's no more. It was over the Bahamas. What's left of the storm drifting over to the east and northeast. Eventually it might hit Bermuda as a collection of clouds and showers, but the National Hurricane Center has issued its last advisory as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. So Oscar is no more. We are watching a little farther back toward the west. We are not seeing, for the bulk of the Atlantic, there is nothing going on at this time. There is a new possible tropical wave making its way east of the Caribbean and the Leeward Islands. Now this maybe, as we go into the end of the week, looks like it has a straight shot across the Caribbean, winding up somewhere here after the weekend and into next week, maybe developing into the next system, but this has a long way to go. The conditions are not great for it to develop now, but later on, that is where we may see some of the changes taking place out there, and that is where that system might make its way toward the east coast of Central America, and that is where it may develop into possibly something a little bit stronger. We'll wait and see, again, from the National Hurricane Center what might help out there. And, of course, the remnants of Oscar are just not helping out for anything. Usually when we get these systems left over, not as a full-fledged raging Category 3 hurricane making its way on shore, but from a leftover tropical system, those sometimes can stir up enough moisture. And given our drought situation, which is increasing once again from a lack of rainfall, we could use a lot more in the way of rain coming up. And that just does not seem to be happening anytime soon. So the tropics are no help, which means that over the next several days, we are not going to be seeing much of anything in the way of change where the forecast is concerned. So for right now, just not picking up much of anything. Sorry about the view there. Let me change over to Island Cove. We turned around the Plainview outdoor advertising camera so that we could take a look at Saturn from earlier tonight, but as of right now we had to change that around and so we can see a little bit more. Looking west on the Island Cove Marina and Resort camera, it was a beautiful sunset out there, but otherwise not seeing, again, a lot of major concern with fog or anything else at this time, so very much on the quiet side here. Good news on that. For tonight and into the next couple of days, again, numbers will be dry to say the least. The only chances of any rainfall coming our direction are going to be on Sunday and next Tuesday. So as we get into the last few days of October, where's the time gone? That is where we see a pitifully small chance of rainfall. Now, this next front that comes through Sunday into Monday, that will be the best potential of some rain, more clouds than anything else. And then as it gets into and around the area of Tuesday, that's a slightly higher chance of some rainfall coming our direction. But beyond that, really just not that much expected to see anything helping in the way of rain anytime. Now, unfortunately, not on this map, we'll have to wait for the next couple of days, but as we get into around Halloween, Thursday next, that is where we see, unfortunately, the next best chance of anything involving rainfall coming up. Yes, that could be a problem for the trick-or-treaters. Time-wise, that's a little bit difficult to say because it is so far out. Looks like mainly a morning chance of rainfall on Halloween, but once again, we'll keep you updated on that. So little, if anything, really to change anytime soon there. Heading out the door with the pupper, that's tonight's forecast. Let me see if I can find the morning show version of that for tomorrow morning. If you're heading out the door with a pup, again, somewhere around daybreak, and afterwards it will be very brisk, upper 40s to lower 50s, and then temperatures warming quite nicely. Should be back close to 80 degrees as we get close to around early morning as temperatures really start to increase out there. So expecting a big warm up very quickly. Thanks a lot to Anonymous for a view of pupper Clementine from the Dayton area. That's our Rough Cuts Dog Grooming of Cleveland dog walking forecast. Pupper picture of the day for Tuesday. If you've got pictures to share of your local pooch, go ahead and send those in to wdef.com/dogwalk. We post these on the internet as often as possible, so drop by and take a look there. All right, we take a look at the tropics. We've seen local weather. Let's go ahead and show you about some interesting things that are going to be coming up in the course of the near future, and I may get on my soapbox here coming up in just a little bit. The next couple of days, again, what we're looking at for now is going to be some very mild conditions out there, but for right now, the best possibility of what we are going to see in the way of weather for the weekend is going to be, again, some very nice conditions out across the area. So if you have any plans to visit the Scenic City Shakespeare final presentations for Friday and Saturday, apologies, it was there a second, I'll put it back up again. They are going to be doing their presentation. They have been doing Fridays and Saturdays in October, a presentation of William Shakespeare's The Scottish play Don't want to upset any thespians out there by using the term, so I'll use both the Scottish play and the actual term itself, Macbeth. Again, should be perfect weather out there for the performances. A little warm on Friday afternoon and evening, and not bad on Saturday evening. If you'd like to know more, tickets, I believe, are free, and usually the last performance sells out before the actual performance comes along. So if you'd like to know more, sceniccitysshakespeare.org, and a great opportunity to catch a little bit more about a tale of madness and murder around Dunsinane. If you'd like to be able to see that, again, sceniccitysshakespeare.org. For more there. There's nothing going on where the weather is concerned, and that is perfect time to become a Skywarn spotter. Now, when nothing is happening, not right before the storms move in or during the storms, now is the time to get ready. The more Skywarn spotters we have, the better we will all be protected, because you become the eyes, ears, and brains of the National Weather Service out in the field, wherever you happen to be. This is a storm spotting course. This is not a chasing course. Yes, I know it says Skywarn Spotter on there for the nitpickers who want to get into my business. So I'm just telling you that because if you want to learn to chase storms, that's something else. Because if you want to learn to chase storms, this is where you start learning to spot for them. Heavy on safety, more on what you can do to spot for the National Weather Service and say, this is John or Jane Smith, using your cell phone, using your amateur radio rig, passing along a severe weather report through the 911 system. That information can help the National Weather Service plot where the severe weather is going. Thank you very much to National Weather Service Morristown for having this severe weather spotter training going on. And you can find out more by taking the course at weather.gov/MRX, taking the final exam at the end of the course to receive credit, and then signing up as a Skywarn spotter with your local National Weather Service office, depending on which one you're with. The News 12 viewing area is covered over by 4 National Weather Service offices in the area: Huntsville, Nashville, Peachtree City, Georgia, and Morristown, Tennessee. So if you are in any of those locations, and the best way to find out is to go to weather.gov, click on that wherever you live, and that'll show you which National Weather Service jurisdiction you belong to, and you can become a spotter for those areas. And again, now, when it's quiet, this is the perfect time to learn more. This is also a good example of what NOAA does. A lot of people think that we should scrap NOAA because it talks too much about climate change. Well, that's not the only thing NOAA does, and they do a lot about public safety by holding these Skywarn training courses. You show me one private forecasting firm that a certain project wants to replace the National Weather Service and NOAA with, I will believe it when I see it, because there is no private firm that does as much as NOAA does. Scrapping NOAA is one of the most short-sighted, backwards type attitudes to have. And again, your vote matters. So please consider that when you are stepping into the ballot box 2 weeks from today. So please consider that, and more on that coming up here in just a little bit. Along those same lines, the National Weather Service in Morristown will be holding an open house coming up Saturday, November 2nd. That's in a couple of weeks as well. Had to be rescheduled because of the arrival of Hurricane Helene. Excuse me. And the National Weather Service in Morristown was affected. That part of the area that is covered by the National Weather Service Morristown was hit by the effects of Helene. So they had to cancel the open house in order to do storm surveys and get information out, passing along information to the public. Again, another thing that NOAA does more and very well, much better than any private forecasting firm would ever do. More information about this, again, coming up in a couple of weeks. Go to their website or go to our website, scroll down beneath the forecast for more details, and you can find out more about this newly rescheduled open house. So you can take your kids, your grandkids, you can see a balloon launch, you can learn how to program your weather radio, you can talk to the meteorologist, the hydrologist, the weather specialist, learn how and why they issue their products and warnings, speak with the government agencies that work as partners with the National Weather Service. Your opportunity to get a lot of information. Don't just sit there and say, cancel NOAA because they talk too much about climate change. Find out what they do first. Be curious. Be scientific. If you have concerns, show up here and ask, and you can find out more about hashtag what NOAA does. Great opportunity to learn more and to expand your scientific horizons to see what is going on there. Likewise, next door neighbor, National Weather Service in Nashville. Next Weather 101 topic coming up next Monday will be all about hurricanes. It's an online video webinar. If you'd like to take part in this will be the 28th, Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time, with Nashville being in the Central Time Zone. A great opportunity to learn more, and you're not alone because there will be more topics coming up. This is just the ones for October, what's left of it. There'll be more topics coming up for November, and we'll post those as well, including storm damage surveys, observations in 3 dimensions when it comes to studying the weather and learning about weather models, and all about flooding. So if you'd like to know more about this, more information from the National Weather Service in Nashville, go to weather.gov and find out more at our website. Again, scroll down beneath the forecast to find out more about the Weather 101 program from Nashville. Great opportunity to see more on that. All right, one last thing before we get to the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. Coming up, the next star party from Barnard Astronomical Society will be November 9th, 5 to 10 p.m. That'll be weather dependent. All these star parties are. If there's too many clouds out there, you can't see anything, they may have to cancel. Harrison Bay State Park in Harrison, Tennessee, just north and east of Chattanooga. Don't have to worry about bringing your binoculars or your telescope. You can just show up and enjoy a night of astronomy. Find out why astronomy is so cool. Introduce your kids, your grandkids, yourself to the cool science of astronomy. More information at barnardastronomy.org for more details. Now, this was particularly rankling over the last few days and weeks as Helene and Milton rolled through parts of the southeast United States. It was bad enough hearing the bad information just knee-jerked, pushed around by a lot of people on social media. You really, really, really need to consider where your sources are coming from and do your best to not pass along bad information or just plain outright lies. There's a lot of that out there. Not only is it that bad, it's getting to the point where death threats are being issued with meteorologists who don't agree with the conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theories over the last few years, again, some of the worst and more stupid ones. We never went to the moon. The Apollo program didn't do anything for us. It was a big waste of taxpayer money. We live on a flat Earth. Love that one. That one is just absolutely provable, and a lot of flat earthers or flurfers don't believe it because they never will, because they think the whole thing is an illusion or blah, blah, blah. Well, now the study of weather pseudoscience has gone to the idea that weather radars and satellites help to create tornadoes and hurricanes, just like supposedly roundabouts that you drive around to get to a certain place help to create more tornadoes. Absolute, complete, and total bourgeois. There's no proof of that, and there won't be. That's not what Doppler radar does. That's not what traffic roundabouts do. But a lot of people have so far gotten on the bandwagon about stuff like this that they are threatening meteorologists with death if they don't start publishing or pronouncing the truth. I have never heard of a more distasteful, absolutely dishonest, and terrible way about going around things. If you are a scientist, if you know anything about science, you know that the best argument against a bad argument is a better argument. Threatening someone with death, that is one of the most reprehensible, stupid, asinine things you can possibly do, especially when it comes to meteorologists who are doing their best to bring information to the public. You're sitting there plugging your ears and saying la, 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 la to scientific fact is one of the most worrisome things I think I've heard about in the last few years. If you want to drive off the cliff, scientifically speaking, you have that right as an American. If you want to say 1 + 1 = 3, you have that right. Try that at your bank and see what happens. I doubt it's going to work because we all have to agree that 1 + 1 = 2, except for those of us who ate their math textbooks instead of reading it. This is a very good article from here. from the former president of the American Meteorological Society and current meteorology professor at the University of Georgia, Professor Marshall Shepard, in Forbes magazine, talking about this excruciatingly bad turn of events to where you can call somebody up and threaten them with a bomb threat, threaten to assassinate them, threaten to poison them, run them, whatever it is you're planning on doing, or just threatening to do, casting bombs out of shadows. How dare you? How dare you sit there and behave that way just because someone doesn't agree with you? That is very Wild West, barbaric type attitudes, and it needs to stop. And it needs to be called out by me, what I'm doing here, and by you, by not passing it along and confronting people who dare decide to do something this absolutely stupid and backwards. If you see stuff like that out there, don't pass it along. Find out where your weather information is coming from. Ask a librarian, consult Snopes, consult the weather information that is out there from experts like Dr. Shepard or from a lot of other places. Meteorologist Matt Lanza has been absorbing a lot of the heat out there, and that is painful enough as it is to see my colleagues, whoever they happen to be, being assaulted by this ridiculous amount of death threats because we won't agree with your absolutely backwards ideas about science, weather, etc., at mind-bending, etc. Again, if you are out there issuing death threats, turn yourself into the police, do the honest thing, and be the person who says, I'm not going to do this anymore. Quit with the conspiracy theories. If you have proof, that's great. Present it. As Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson of the New York City Planetarium and science proponent has says, a conspiracy theory is the battle cry of a person that is not armed with any facts. This is a tragic turn and should not be happening. If you're doing it, quit it. No death threats. Think about how you would feel if somebody did that to you, which, by the way, you're not when you're doing stupid-ass stuff like this. This is very ugly things to be doing, and honestly, if you are doing it, you should turn yourself in immediately and face the full weight of what you've done when it comes to making terroristic threats. You deserve it for doing that. If you stop and turn it around and own up to what you're doing, this would be a very good turn of events. So something to really think about if you have been making those death threats. If you see them, don't join on that bandwagon. Stand up against bullying, stand up against pseudoscience, and stand up against death threats. It's the only way we're going to stop stuff like this, and these people deserve to be blocked on any social media page and not paid attention to anymore. That's just the way it needs to be. Again, bullies should never be accepted, and this is terrible behavior, so please stop doing it. If you are the person doing it, if you're not, don't pass it along. Do what you can to stand up against stuff like this. All right, soapbox over, but this just really rankles and pretty well scares me. By the way, the article is available on our website at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to see more about what's going on there. All right, I think that should do it for tonight. Well, one or two more things here. Let's talk about our poll of the day. Lightning is a very unique effect coming out of thunderstorms. It's caused by static electricity. It is static electricity, but you have radiation in the form of X-rays and gamma rays, if I'm not mistaken. You have sound waves, which are what you hear as the waves of thunder after that lightning channel gets cooked. You've got thermal energy that is cooking the air around that channel that is about the size of your pinky finger. If you cut it in half, it cooks that area to 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's the shock wave you hear as thunder. It also says, again, you have the light that you see with your eyes. It also does a very good job of creating radio waves, which you can hear on AM radio stations. But what do we call that? Static sound spherics or subliminal harmonics? 55% of you chose the right answer. If you took the term atmospheric in atmospheric radio waves and chopped it off, spherics is the correct answer on that, and that's really cool to be able to hear all that on an AM radio, see the lightning, hear the crackle of static on the radio. Really cool to be able to see more about that. So if you'd like to know more, again, thanks a lot. You can go to our website for more details. to WDEF.com/vote now. And thanks to friendinroofing.com for being our web poll sponsor of the day. Thank you very much on that. New poll goes up at midnight, so stop by and find out more about what is going on there. All right, I think that is pretty much it. I don't recall anything else for this evening, so we'll go ahead and send it back to regular programming. I'll have more on News 12 at 11, so if you want to stop by and find out a little bit more about what's happening, News 12's Andrew Harrison will have the news, Rick Nyman with sports, I'll have the weather, and then Chip Chapman will have weather. Amelia Greer will have the news tomorrow morning on Daybreak, if you'd like to stop by and see what's going on there. Questions, concerns, if you'd like to ask anything directly to me, no comments on Twitch, and not too many people stopping by on YouTube for tonight. So if there's something you'd like to ask and would like to be able to send it to me directly, there's the email address. Again, aonic@wdef.com. Bottom of the screen, our website, wdef.com/weather. Our 7-day forecast, lower left-hand corner of the screen, that also available, along with a bunch of other really cool weather effects at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to find out more there. I'll have more coming up on News 12 at 11, and of course we'll be back with a peak of the week edition of Weather Overtime. That'll be on Wednesday evening, so please join me for that, and we'll see what weather is like for the rest of the forecast into the rest of the week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onick. Thanks for joining us for either the online live or the repeat version of Weather Overtime, and we'll talk more again coming up on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you again coming up tomorrow night.